Have you ever been in a situation where you felt like the odds were stacked against you? Like no matter what you did, you couldn't escape a negative outcome? What if every decision you've ever made, every step you've taken, every moment of your existence was already decided long before you even had a chance to choose? But one thing is certain, the implications of the answer are profound and far-reaching. Does the very idea of a predetermined future scare you? Imagine a world where every event, every action, and every reaction is already set in stone. He famously said, "If you knew all the positions and velocities of the particles in a system at any given instant, you would be able to calculate the state of that system at any subsequent time." Laplace's demon was a hypothetical being that could predict the future by knowing the initial conditions of the universe. However, Laplace's demon was not only a scientific hypothesis, but also a philosophical challenge to the idea of free will. However, others argue that we have free will, and that God allows us to make our own decisions, because He respects our autonomy and dignity. It's a cyclic process of birth, growth, decay, and death that repeats itself over and over again. According to Buddhism, everything is caused by our thoughts, words, and actions. We create our future by the seeds of karma that we sow in the present. However, we are not victims of our past karma. When you think of your past, you're not actually retrieving data. Rather, you're re-experiencing moments that once unfolded. The past isn't behind you, it's within you, woven into the fabric of who you are. The same goes for your future. It's not ahead of you, but inside you, waiting to be lived. There is no right or wrong answer, only the one that resonates with you the most. So what do you think? Is our future written? Do we have free will, or are we merely pawns in a cosmic game? Let us know in the comments below. We have the power to change our habits, attitudes, and behaviors, and to cultivate new wholesome qualities such as compassion, wisdom, and patience. And with that powerful line, we come to the end of this episode of Gravitas Plus. If you enjoyed this journey through the cosmos of free will, don't forget to stay tuned for more such thought-provoking explorations. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and above all, keep living your story to the fullest. Every scene, every dialogue, every emotion is already there.
Ouch.
You may be tempted to feel disheartened or hopeless. After all, if everything is predetermined, what's the point of trying or aspiring? Yet the question of free will remains one of the most perplexing and controversial mysteries of our existence. Some say that our future is written in the stars, while others claim that we are the authors of our own destiny. The truth is that the answer may lie somewhere in between these two extremes. We may not have complete control over everything that happens to us, but we also cannot deny that we have the power to shape our response to any situation. But what if instead of feeling trapped, you embrace the script that life has written for you? Would it be easier to navigate the twists and turns of your journey if you knew the ending? Does the knowledge of your future self help you cope with the ups and downs of the present? According to Buddhism, the ultimate goal is to achieve nirvana, or liberation from the suffering and the cycle of rebirth. If your entire life is already mapped out, does that mean your pain, your suffering, your struggles are all fated? On the other hand, if your future is written, does that also mean your joys, your triumphs, and your achievements are all predetermined? How do you reconcile the idea of free will with the reality of suffering? Can you really blame yourself for something that was meant to be? Or are you merely playing a role assigned to you by a higher power or cosmic chance? They say that God foreknows what we will do, but He doesn't force us to do it. Or do they only add more complexity and confusion? In Hinduism, the concepts of karma and destiny are intertwined. Our actions and their consequences shape our future lives, and we are bound by the law of cause and effect. However, we also have the ability to change our karma and destiny through our choices and efforts. According to Hinduism, there is a cosmic script that determines our lifespan, our qualities, our talents, our challenges, and our ultimate goal. However, we are not mere puppets of fate. We have free will to play our role in the cosmic drama and to fulfill our purpose. Moreover, in Hinduism, there is a concept of reincarnation, which means that we are reborn into different bodies and situations based on our karma. We can escape this cycle of birth and death by attaining enlightenment or moksha. If everything is predetermined, do we really have any freedom to choose our actions, or are we just following a script that has already been written? A world where you are merely a puppet dancing to the tune of a cosmic choreographer. Does this thought both terrify and intrigue you? One such theory is superdeterminism, which was proposed by John Archibald Wheeler. You may have heard of experiments like Libert's experiment, which claim to show that the brain makes decisions before we consciously know we're making them. But what does this really mean? Does it mean we don't have free will? Well, maybe. Or maybe it just means we don't know all the factors that go into making a decision. Maybe our mind just plays catch-up to what's already set in motion. It suggests that all events in the universe are causally related, and that the apparent randomness or free will is an illusion of our limited knowledge or perspective. Another theory is eternal inflation, which proposes that our universe is just one of many universes that are constantly popping into existence, and that the future is not predetermined, but rather created by the very act of observation or participation. What if your future is not ahead of you, but already behind you, written in a book whose pages have already been turned? In Islam, the concept of qadr, or divine destiny, is a central tenet of faith. Muslims believe that everything that happens in the world is ordained by Allah the Almighty, who knows all things past, present, and future. The Quran says, "We have certainly created man in the best of molds, but do not know what will happen to the future of humanity, whether they will be guided or led astray." So according to Islam, our future is written in the book of life before we are born, and we cannot alter it by our own will or effort. We must simply submit to the will of Allah and seek His guidance and forgiveness. Today we'll be talking about whether or not you have free will. So, then you've probably asked yourself the question, do we have free will, or is our future predetermined? In other words, are you the master of your own destiny, or are you just a pawn in a game of cosmic chess? The distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. This statement is rooted in his theory of special relativity, which proposes that time is not an absolute and universal constant, but rather a relative and subjective experience that depends on the observer's frame of reference. Einstein suggested that the only reality is a four-dimensional block universe, where past, present, and future coexist equally. But we only experience it as a flowing timeline, because of our own limitations and biases. Hello and welcome to Gravitas Plus. Tonight we ask you to suspend reality for a few minutes and explore a fascinating concept. Your response to this question might depend on your age, background, beliefs, and experiences. Let's start with a quote from Albert Einstein. Here goes. But Einstein was not the first to ponder this question. Ancient Greek philosophers such as Heraclitus and Parmenides already debated the nature of time and change. They wondered if anything truly changes, or if it's all an illusion of our minds. They also wondered if we are free to make choices, or if we are bound by fate and destiny. In the 19th century, the French mathematician and physicist Pierre-Simon Laplace formulated his famous clockwork universe, which assumes that the universe is a gigantic machine governed by the laws of mechanics. In modern physics, there are various theories that attempt to explain the nature of time and causality. But let us move beyond the realm of science and explore what religions have to say about this topic. In Christianity, some people believe that God knows all things, including our future choices and actions. In Buddhism, time is seen as a continuous flow that never ceases. So now here's a question for you. Do these religious perspectives offer any solace or guidance to those who grapple with the question of free will? Now back to the show. Do we have free will, or is our future written? Here's another thought. Your memories are not stored in your brain like files in a computer. Let's imagine for a moment that your entire life is laid out before you like a movie. Think about this. We live in a world where science and technology have advanced to the point where we can manipulate time and space at our fingertips. Ultimately, the question of free will is a personal one that each of us must answer for ourselves. You may not be writing the story, but you are still the one living it.